That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 44. Mike and Alex with you. Post Knicks from Madison Square Garden. Nets get the win, and it was a wild day to talk NBA, a wild day to talk Brooklyn Nets here locally in the New York, New Jersey area. So, Alex, how the hell are you?
Pretty shitty after that game. I gotta tell you, that was a pretty terrible game. How are you doing? You're the one with but it's like the game doesn't matter. The news is the James Harden trade. I can't believe that happened.
Yeah. Oh my
Like,
God.
I was, I just remember, I know you have the alerts for Shams on. So when I saw the tweet come through, I just texted you, yo.
Dude, and like the way it works now with social media and everything is my phone went fucking berserk.
Yeah.
My dad was here at my house helping with my son today,
Mm-hmm.
and he literally had just left. And I was on the phone with a friend, Andrew Bogish, who I used to work with at CBS
Yeah,
Sports Radio.
I know the
And then the
name.
alert came, and I was like, "Fuck, it happened." And then all hell broke loose on just trying to figure out who was part of the deal, who were the pieces, who were the trade partner assets, the whole deal. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just a crazy day on that front, and we'll get into all of that. I do want to say it was interesting for me watching the Knicks and watching the Nets play against each other at the Garden. First of all, it felt like they were in some alternate universe. It didn't feel like an MSG game. I
Of
think if there
course
were
not.
fans at that game, the Knicks would have won. I had so many issues with Steve Nash at the end of the game, the way he managed the clock, pulled the players. I was like stressed out the whole time. I know you were like probably thinking, "Oh, this is not in hand," but fucking worried me. I guess again that doesn't matter, but it was fun to finally. I like Quickly. He's good.
Yeah, no, he's good. This is the first game that you like real. I mean, I know you've
Like
watched other
like
games, but you really like.
literally every
Yeah,
second. Didn't miss
yeah.
a second.
Quickly is showing something, and it's just I don't know why Tibbs is obsessed with Alfred Payton. I just don't get it. Like he just keeps force feeding us Alfred Payton. I understand he's got to get minutes because he's probably the most veteran point guard on the team and whatever, sure, but he doesn't need to start and play 30, 35 minutes a night.
Right.
What are we doing? It's just it makes no sense to me. And then Obi Toppin's probable and he plays 1 minute, and it's just like
Yeah, I was
now Obi
interested to
Top.
see him.
Yeah, he barely played. Like, why play him if you're gonna play him 1 minute?
I don't know.
Why play him? Like, what's the point? It just and then Alfred Payton misses Obi on that one alley oop. Like, if you can't throw an alley oop to Obi Toppin to jump out of the gym, then like, what do you and you throw it low? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you here for? You're like a -10 every game. It's frustrating, but it just goes back. The Knicks did nothing this offseason to improve the team, and this is what they are. They're a garbage team with a million holes, and they didn't use any of the cap space to fill the holes that they have. Then they still have the cap space. It's just, what are we doing? It's just, it drives me crazy, and it just, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. I don't want to get on a long ass rant about the Knicks again.
So when the James Harden trade happened,
Yeah.
and what was this, like a 3, 4, 4,
4
30,
something, 4 like 15 or something. Yeah, 4 o'clock.
There was momentum moving that it looked like Philly was the team that was going to make the deal.
Right.
It just seemed, based on all of the reports from the big time reporters in the NBA and the tweets, it seemed as if the Sixers were going to make a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then it happened, and then the Nets did it. And I got to be honest, like when it broke, I didn't know who the partners, I didn't know who was in the deal. Then when I saw the people in the deal, I think any fan would feel this way. My heart was broken for two of my favorite Nets. Yeah. And like, when you look at the trade components, the Allen part of it is way more valuable than Karras. When you look at, they're getting a guy and Harden is going to score, but they have no inside players at all.
You want me to read the trade real quick before you break it down?
Yeah, read the trade. Go for it.
So full trade. Rockets got Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Karutz, 3 Brooklyn first rounders, 22, 24, 26, one Milwaukee first rounder, 22 unprotected, 4 Brooklyn first round swaps in 21, 23, 25, and 27. The Nets got James Harden. The Pacers got Karis LeVert and a second rounder. The Cavs got Jared Allen and Taurean Prince.
So
crazy.
When it happened, I was very angry at first, legit not happy about this deal. And like I said before, Karras and Allen, these are 2 homegrown players that have gone from guys that could like barely get into the game to guys that were not all-star players, but a step below all-star players. Yeah, boys. And it was great to see the development. And then I've seen James Harden and all the shenanigans he brings. He's fat. He's selfish. Teammates don't like him. Kyrie Irving's gone. And I was really pissed off about it. And I think the more and more and more I think about it, and seeing the Nets reserves tonight play very well, especially that was DeAndre Jordan's best game this year, and there wasn't even a close second.
Don't let it fool you. The Knicks suck, so don't let that fool
I
you.
understand that, but
Yeah.
somebody tweeted like the Nets traded for James Harden and DeAndre Jordan today. Like DeAndre Jordan was
I get you.
terrible
Yeah.
in the first couple of games, so he showed a little bit of life, and then Reggie Perry. He played really well. He came out of nowhere and gave him he was their 56th pick in the draft. He gave him really solid minutes. I mean, he was like legit helping them, rebounding, defending, shooting threes, hitting layups. So I think the more and more the days progressed, I've tricked myself into believing that this is going to work. And they have no other options now. Like Harden, who the hell knows with Kyrie? And Durant, we've seen now in a small sample size, it looks really good.
He's Durant. Yeah, he's crazy.
So
incredible.
He's a game changer for sure. So now I'm just like, fuck it. Here we go. Here's the roster. There's going to be more moves that are made. I was pissed when it started, but now I've kind of let the dust settle. It's a business. LeVert, Allen are gone. This is my team. They're going to be hateable. They're going to be a team that nobody likes. And it's a team that's made up of how the hell we got here. And if it doesn't work, they are fucked forever.
Again.
Like times 2 bad. So, and I'll tell you, I would take a title for 10 years of hell.
Of course.
I've never seen a Nets title. I would do it. So
I would do it too.
Long run, I guess this is where we are. Let's go for it. Let's find Kyrie and let's see what this looks like. I'm dying to hear what you have to say about it.
Well, if there's ever a GM that can get out of a huge hole, it's Sean Marks.
You can't do it twice, dude. You can't do that twice.
So
bring back Kenny Atkinson, right? To coach that
bring him
squad.
back. Bring Kenny Atkinson back. Get
dude.
Lawrence Frank as the assistant. Yeah, like just bring everybody back. But wasn't he? I think he was the assistant. I don't know. I might have made that up. But he just it's just I can't believe that it happened. I can't believe so everybody's like, oh, Harden, Kyrie, and Durant. Okay, so break it down. Durant's here. He's great. He's Durant. Like, he looks incredible. It makes me look like an idiot, and that's fine. He just looks great. Yeah. And then Kyrie is who the hell knows?
When he's on the court, he's been awesome, Alex. He's
played like 30 games in 2 years.
I get that. He's played defense. First of all, this is how crazy of a week this has been. All the Kyrie stuff that has happened in the past
doesn't matter, right?
We're not even talking about. Kyrie Irving hasn't been with his team for 5 games.
Right.
He was on a Zoom call during the game. I mean, it's stuff you can't make up, I guess, unless you're Kyrie Irving. And that's now old news. That story is old news, which is just mind-blowing. We're all forgetting about it because now you're bringing in James Harden coming into this mix. I mean, I don't the narrative that there's one ball, I don't buy that.
I think I hate that joke. Oh my God, I hate
that's not the issue with this team. They'll be able to score.
Right.
Can they defend and can they rebound? And ironically, tonight was the best showing that they had on those intangible stats. Like Bruce Brown had 15 and 14. He fucked up the Knicks. Reggie Perry was good. DeAndre Jordan was good. It was they did the things they couldn't do in those Grizzlies losses. They defended and they got rebounds. Now I'll take your word for it that the Knicks suck, but it was still bizarre to see that the things that I was worried about with the Nets intangible wise, they showed tonight. So I'm very mixed. I'm very confused, and I got to see.
You have no choice. Yeah, you have no choice but to turn it around. Yeah, you have to trick yourself. Like when the Jets hired Adam Gase, I popped the blood vessel. I'm like, I can't believe they just did this, and what are they doing? But eventually I had to try to root for them, and I ended up being right. But I would compare how you feel about Harden right now on a very, very smaller scale, talent-wise, but it's a different sport. When the Jets got Tebow, I'm just like, what the I'm like, are we kidding right now? It doesn't fit, and it just didn't make any sense. It was all for the back pages.
But
I mean, that's not what the Nets got him for. But no, I'm just saying what I was feeling at the time.
Right.
I was just so angry. But then when he's on the field and he's running, he never scored a touchdown for the Jets. But when he's running, doing whatever, I get excited. Okay, go. But I was just so mad at them for that. And I knew that was the beginning of the end, and it's been a decade. It was the beginning of the end. But it's just with Harden, you have to the initial anger of it is God, like Evan on the radio. I happened to be in the car driving when this trade broke, and I just like I'm listening to Evan and Craig talk, and I'm just waiting for them to get the news. I'm like sitting there, like, when is the news gonna get to them? And also Evan just he goes nuts,
right?
And I don't think there's a real Nets fan out there that is happy about this deal or was happy when the moment the trade hit. I don't know if there's one. Like I don't think
there
so.
Are,
you
there
would
are,
know if
there are some. I don't. I don't know. There were some. I would say it was a mixed bag, and it's crazy too. Like, to think, Alex, if you told me 5 years ago the Nets would have Kyrie and Durant and they traded for James Harden, and I was upset, I would be like, "What are you talking about?"
Right.
But that's what I mean. But that's honestly the circumstance we're in today.
Mm-hmm.
I felt really upset and really confused about it. The net Nick game helped me cope through it. It was like, I get a lot of anxiety when the Nets play the Knicks because I never want to lose to them. Because I despise the Knicks. You know this. The audience knows this. I felt like a relaxation because they were going in with all of these other guys, and it was like therapy. This Nick game was therapy for the James Harden trade for me. So, do you think it helps the Nets?
The Harden trade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love it.
Harden, no, I don't think they're going to win a title, but they're better. But like, you got to think of it like kind of like when the first year of the Heat Big Three, when they signed they got LeBron, Wade, they kept Wade, and they got Bosh, and they had nothing. They had like Joel Anthony, they had like nothing on their team. They still got to the finals and lost, but like they had nothing. Then the next year they draft like Norris Cole, and it was like, oh my God, we got a player. Like, you know what I mean? They got him at the end of the first round. You know what I mean? It just like, and that he helped. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he won the championship for them, but like you had Chalmers and Cole, you had some kind of competent kind of point guard situation there. But like, how big is that Landry Shamet trade now for the Nets to have him a quality rotational NBA
Tonight
player?
was his best game too. Yeah. Like you caught the Nets where these guys have been bad. Mm-hmm. Shamet's been awful. He was shooting 17% from three. He was 3 for 7 tonight. I was praising it. Shamet's been terrible. DeAndre Jordan's been terrible.
Brown's been terrible. He said, right?
No, Reggie Brown's been good. The Nets are 5.
Brett Brown, isn't it? Brett Brown. What's his name?
Yeah, no, Bruce Brown. Sorry,
Bruce Brown.
Brett Brown.
Who cares? Brown. Yeah,
but Brown. The Nets are 5-1 when Brown starts. They didn't play him in the Thunder game. It was like bizarre. Weird. Steve Nash has been bizarre. The coaching
maybe he was part of a trade. Maybe he thought he was part of a trade. They didn't want to like put him in it or something. Can you trade him yet? I don't know. Maybe
no. It's just bad coaching.
Yeah.
They got Brown in the Musa deal. I mean, like that. Like it's funny. The small deals that Marks has made have been helpful. Musa for Brown. He's been a huge contributor with this team.
He's a good
player. Maybe Reggie Perry as a second round pick. That's the kind of stuff they're gonna need. So I'm terrified. And there will be guys they pick up because there's going to be guys that get cut and want to come here for a chance.
They're going to get bought out and they're going to come and, it's just what it is.
Man,
you know what it is? It's like
terrified.
The Nets. So if on paper, we talked about this a month ago and it was like the Nets can't get Harden without putting Kyrie in the deal. Well, then Harden disappears for training camp. He gets fat, lowers his value. And it's just like nobody wants him now. So now the Nets were able to get him without dealing Kyrie. But they got rid of LeVert and Allen, two net fan favorites, and all their draft picks for the next 20 years.
All of them.
And all of them. Harden motivated and Durant, they know each other. They've already played together. I mean, we already went through this though with Westbrook and Harden. So I don't know if it's going to work with Durant and Harden again in the round 2, but Harden's a problem child. Kyrie is a problem child. Durant is just going to sit there and just be like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You know what I mean? Eventually he's going to be like, what is going on here?
I know.
You know
what
what I
mean? There's going to be something
Kyrie
bad.
going to show up?
I don't know.
That's the thing. Like
there's so many things.
You have Kyrie. Is he going to show up? Is Harden going to be in shape and motivated? Which I can see him being motivated, but he's not in shape.
No,
so you're going to have
bad.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
But you have Durant, who is Durant. Like he just looks like incredible.
He looks great.
But then you have no bench. DeAndre Jordan's not going to do this every night. You have no big man. You have no bench. They have to make another move, but they will in time. But it's just I can't see them winning a title like this unless. I mean, it's funny. Like Kyrie is just all of a sudden going to show up now tomorrow. Like, oh, Harden's here. Let's go.
Well, what's even the deal with him showing up with COVID rules? Because he was out.
No, he's got to sit out a week at least. Yeah, he's got to sit out. At least. And he's not even back yet.
That's just a bizarre one. But see, like tonight gave me hope in the fact that Shamit played really well. Brown played really well. Like
Well, these
Joe,
are vets. They've been
Joe
here.
had
They've been
it like
here.
a so-so night.
Fine.
He
They'll
was
be
a little
fine,
off, but he made shots when they needed.
Yeah.
But it was that other guy stepping up. Like Chioza couldn't hit a shot. He did have 7 assists, but he was all over the place. But I mean, obviously, when you get Kyrie and you get Harden, things will slip to the back. And then Nick Claxton, their second-year center, I think he's going to start to get minutes because you got to give him. You have to give him a shot.
Has he been
played
hurt?
Year? He's been hurt.
Oh, he's been hurt.
So he's got to get minutes. But man, Alex, this has the potential. And if it blows up, the media will take out their cigarettes. Told you so. Told you so. Told you so. And I can't blame them because this has the potential to be such an utter shit show. I mean, it really does. And you know, I've defended Kyrie and I've defended Durant, and Durant's been perfect angel.
Fine.
And
Durant's fine.
He's been great on the court. But Kyrie's got to show up and he's got to play basketball. Or, you know, they like is James Harden insurance for Kyrie? I've heard that a lot today. I mean, it's just the components here are fucking wild. I mean, this is I can't believe my franchise is this much of a shit show and could really go in two different directions. And it is terrifying to see which ways it go.
It has to be this year. They have to win this year, because if they don't win this year and it all blows up and they fight with each other in the playoffs and they don't go in there, it's going to be bad.
But I will I will say though, if they're together for next year, like you mentioned with the Heat and the Big Three, and maybe next year they sign some other components that come together. Maybe Dinwiddie's like, you know what, I want to resign, and then let's go over the luxury tax plus more. I mean, who knows? And who knows what happens?
Yeah.
But my God, when they lose, and I know it's going to happen, when they're going to lose, and it's going to be the worst feeling ever to see it happen. And I too also believe, I know my brain's all over the place, but I also believe too that Harden purposely, I'm not saying, I do think he wanted his way out and he started to get fatter. I really believe this. Didn't give a fuck going to the strip clubs. Started eating like a motherfucker. Like, I do think that he lost his attention and purposely did things negatively to get him out of Houston. And I pray that he hones it in and is like, okay, I have a shot now to win a title. I've got to get my shit together.
Right. It's just funny. I was thinking as you're saying that, what other profession where it's like, hey, if you get fat, you know, you'll get a better job and your job of your dreams. You know, like, I would be with COVID, man. I'd be a new job. No, I don't need a new job. I'm just
all right, Mike and Alex are getting promotions. Good job eating that jelly donut. There's an extra $4,000.
Oh, well, yeah. Shrimp oreganata tonight, bro. That was good stuff. Pasta.
Where'd you get that from?
The Italian spot down the block I've told you about. Really great food.
Okay. You haven't mentioned it before.
Yeah. No. It's a small place, whatever. But anyway, I don't know. Like I said, this can go one way or it can go another way, like you said. But it has to be this year. It has to be this year. And it's what you want. I mean, you want to go all in, and this is better going all in with Harden, Kyrie, and Durant than it is with, the shells of Garnett and Pierce and Jason Terry.
It's very different.
This is like a different level of going all in, and it could be worth the risk. Like I said, the second that Garnett trade happened, I was laughing. I'm like, oh, these idiots, because the Knicks almost swept them the year before.
Yeah.
I have the tweets to show it, Mike, and
I bet you do.
And it was just
they're framed on your wall.
Yeah, they are. They are actually. Yeah, they're right there.
I know.
But man, I don't know. I don't know what to even think. I don't even know what to say that you haven't said already. It's just crazy. It's just another world, because right before the season we talked about this trade and we said Harden to the Nets with Kyrie and Durant. I said, oh my God, like they don't even need a reserves. They don't need big men. Just those three players on their best behavior, they're going to blow through the Eastern Conference without a problem. You know what I mean? But now with Kyrie aloof, with their Harden fat,
right.
You know what I mean? It's just, who knows now? And it's crazy. We also talked about Kyrie. Like we brought up those episodes on Twitter, episode 30, where we talked about Kyrie with the Durant's podcast, saying like, hey, if basketball's secondary to me, like that's what he said on his podcast back in October. and on Durant's podcast and back in October. And now he's a true man, true to his word. First time he actually backed something up that he said, like it's crazy. It's how do you just disappear? Like, how do you just, you don't even tell the coach, like at least tell the coach, shoot the coach text me like, hey, I got to go do some stuff. I'm sorry. I can't make it tonight. I told the owner I'm out, I'll be back. At least give Nash something to say. Don't set Nash up at the press conference. Like, I don't know where he is. I haven't heard from him. I don't know. That's so crazy to me. And then Worldwide Woe puts out the video, the investigative report, which is crazy. And he found the club in Jersey that he was at based on pictures and this. That was insane.
Where was it in Jersey? Do you know?
Union something? Union.
In Union? I only asked
whatever.
because I should just look it up. I should have known this, I guess, by now. But
because
I do Uber Eats and I'm going to all these different areas, I'm just kind of curious where he was because I know New Jersey so well now.
Yeah.
Being an Uber Eats driver, I'm just kind of curious where Kyrie was hanging out. But I mean, he really has to show up for work. It would be nice. And I respect and I understand if he wanted to take a personal day because he felt very passionate about social justice and things going on in DC. And I respect that and I understand it. But there is a point where you also hold yourself to be accountable to your workplace and to your teammates and to your friends. And you have to do that. And you have to understand that there's a bigger picture with you and this team. And if you don't want to show up, and I'll disagree with it, there has to be some transparency in what's happening. And I guess if he were here on this podcast, he would say, Mike, that's my right. I don't have to tell you what's going on. But you owe it to your teammates and your coaching staff too. That you do owe it to. You owe it to the people that you work with so that they know where you are because
they rely on him. They rely on him. Their jobs are on the line for him. It's very selfish. It really is.
Very selfish. And I know I got bombarded with Celtic fans, friends texting me, and they're like, "This is what you get with Kyrie." And it's like, well, what do you want me to say? Like, what do you want me to say? Kevin Durant wouldn't be here if Kyrie Irving wasn't with him. And clearly Kevin Durant was worth the signing as of now. He's been great. I don't have an answer. I'm like, yeah, Kyrie's lost it. But they need Durant. And I'm just kind of like, I don't want to turn a blind eye to it, but at the same time, I have to just grasp and pray that it works. And I can't go be a jerk about it because he is on my team.
But let me ask you a question though. So let's say Durant is Durant this year or next year before he starts to maybe fade a little, talent-wise with age or whatever, right? So is 2 to 3 years of Durant worth all of these problems?
It is.
It is? Okay.
I get you. And I get you. Kyrie's a disaster when he's not here. He's been AWOL. Durant's been good. James Harden's chunky, and he's coming here, and they gave up a bajillion assets.
Everything. Yeah.
But this is it. This is the window. I mean, how it's so difficult to win a championship in the NBA, and I've never seen this team close in 20 years. So I've just kind of convinced myself, and maybe I'm delusional about it, and people listening to this podcast will be like, Mike, you're a Nets homer. But I have to be committed. I have to be committed to it. And like I said before, I was so upset about the trade. My heart broke seeing Harris. And then, of course, the Nets have the Cavs for 2 games. Jared Allen is going to eat them alive. And that's going to be so painful to watch.
And I know that's DeAndre Jordan. He hates DeAndre. He probably hates DeAndre Jordan.
It seems like they've had a decent relationship.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But
DeAndre Jordan is the
maybe
ultimate.
not personally, but like professionally, maybe he hates him.
Right.
Man, I forgot my point, but it's
because they're evil. The Nets are evil.
It's a crazy. Oh, do you think, like, looking back, like, I think, let me start from the beginning, which is a good place to start.
Yeah.
Fuck, I lost my thought again. Damn it. No, it's just, I think for you, having LeVert, Allen, Dinwiddie, and Harris on the Nets with Durant and Kyrie made you still feel like it was the Nets. Like, you're like, all right, we got these guns, but we still got our guys, and let's go. Now you have Dinwiddie, who's not there, and you have all these hired guns, these mercenaries, and Joe Harris, and that's it. And it's just like, what is our team? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is who I got to root for now. You know what I mean? And that's why you're so mad. And that's why I'm wondering if you would have preferred to go back to the culture Nets Maybe not pay D'Angelo Russell this big contract, but like go back to the culture nets and maybe add pieces here and there, like not Tobias Harris or Jimmy Butler, but maybe like just do something else. Like, you know what I mean? And not get 2 years of Durant out of for this. Like, you know what I'm saying? This might be a championship this year, which it very might be with Harden and Kyrie and Durant, but it might not be. It's a very good chance it might not be. I mean, personally, if I had to bet money on it, I would bet against it. And that's not even me being a Nets hater. I can't.
I would say the Lakers are the favorites.
Yeah, the Lakers. But I'm even coming out of the East. Like, can you see them getting to the final? I mean, like,
I can see them getting to the finals, and I can see them imploding, and I can see everything. I'm telling you, like I said it earlier in the episode, this episode, I know that disaster moment is coming where I'm just heartbroken because something bad happens. But at the same time, if it meshes and it works, like I don't like. We talked about this before too. To answer your question, yes, I'd rather have this team than the culture nets with Tobias Harris and D'Angelo Russell. We've seen in Philly, Tobias Harris isn't good enough to be the third star right now.
He's not a max player.
In Minnesota with D'Angelo Russell, the Timberwolves are like 3-6, so they're not winning game, and it's a helter-skelter season. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I'll take the chance with this, with the evil Nets on that front. And then something else I want to talk about. We kind of brushed over it before. The ball on the only one ball. I think that the three of them in Durant, Irving, and Harden are at a place for all of them in their careers where they want to win a championship, and they know. And there's going to be moments where it's a rough patch, but I think they know that they have to be unselfish to win, and they have to rely on the other people. And this is me convincing myself, but I think they've gotten to the point where they can do that. And also Harden in this ISO ball, that's what they did in Houston. Like, I know D'Antoni's the assistant coach for the Nets right now, but the Nets are doing a different offense.
I forgot about that. Wow,
D'Antoni's the assistant there. Is that crazy?
Wow. Yeah.
But this is not the same offense. I don't think.
No, it's not.
Where this is going to help is like Durant's on the bench, the Nets move around their lineup, Harden plays. Durant's on a back-to-back, Harden can play. Like, they at least have guys like that he can come in there, and if the bench can be somewhat competent. And I can't believe if we did this podcast when the trade happened, you would be getting a very different Mike Biseglia. But I've just kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid and just convincing myself to go along with this because you really just have no other choice.
Yeah, no, you don't have a choice. Like, that's what I was trying to make that Tebow point before, where it's like, I hated Tebow. I'm like, this guy's such a overrated. Like, he throws 3 passes in a game, once for a touchdown at the end of the game. Like, oh, Tebow time. Oh, and then all of a sudden the Jets trade for him. And it's just like, oh my God, what are we doing? And it just, that was the most divided fan base that season for Jets fans. That it was the worst. It was the worst, worse than this year. It was terrible. I mean, this year was bad, but you know what I mean? Like, it was comparable. And it's just from an enjoyable standpoint, I should say, not from wins. But, so having a guy that you hate on your favorite team and forcing to root for them is very, very difficult to do.
Yes.
Like, especially when you have all these hot takes and you say all these things to your friends or on Twitter or on the podcast and then you got to be like, ugh, yeah, now I'm wrong and I got to root for, and it's just like, ugh, you know what I mean? It's just this whole it just leaves you a bad taste in your mouth. And I couldn't believe it. And you would have gotten a different me if we did this podcast right at 5:00, right after the trade and all the trade details came out. We did it at that time. You would have gotten me laughing at you and like, I can't believe it. And this and that, and not laughing at you personally, the Nets fans, I should say.
No, I know what you mean.
But now I'm like, I watched the Knicks get their doors blown off on national TV by the Nets, who I hate. Well, it's just after the Nets just got James Harden, and it's just like now the worst thoughts come into my mind about the Knicks were 5-3. What are they going to finish with 20 wins with 15 games the rest of the year now? And they're going to be terrible, and they're going to fire Tibbs, and they're going to tank, and everybody, what I mean? Like, all these fans of this whole offseason, I'm telling them, the 2 weeks of the offseason, I'm telling them, I'm like, they're all like, oh, we don't care. Yeah. Let's tank. We'll be fine. Who cares if we're bad? It's not about this year. It's never about this year. It's always about next year. Well, don't worry about it. We got another draft pick, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, all right, well, talk to me in March when the team has 10 wins and they suck. You better keep this, same energy, as the kids say, that you have right now. and they're 5-3 now. They're what, 5-7, 5-6,
4-game losing streak.
It's just,
I kept track.
Come on, man. Like, yeah, he kept trying. No, it's like I can't stand what I'm watching. I can't stand. It's not enjoyable. They're not even losing in a fun way. You know what I mean? Like, you have Quickly, who comes off the bench and is incredible, and then I'm like, then I got to sit through Alfred Payton, who's trying to act like he's James Harden, like pounding the ball and like, you know, chucking up shots, getting in the lane. Kevin Knox in the corner. That's the only place he stands. He shoots the ball, scratches the ceiling every time he shoots the ball. It's the highest arc I've ever seen. You know what I mean? It drives me crazy. Like, this team drives me crazy because they have good young talent and they didn't have to be this bad this year. And I know that there weren't that many free agent options, but they could have signed one. They could have made a deal. They could have done something, do something, take on a contract, get a decent rotational player, take on a contract, get a pick, do something more. You didn't have to be this bad. And that's why the season pisses me off more than even last season, where I was excited. I'm like, all right, they tried. They threw some money at some average players. Let's see if we can piece it together. And if they didn't have Fizdale, they would have been knocking on the door and in the bubble. You know what I mean? So it pisses me off, man. I can't even go about the Knicks right now. I'm just so angry.
Well, I have a point, and then I have a question for you.
Right.
I'll start with the point. Maybe it's a point. That point, no, but it's more just interesting.
Mm-hmm. A tidbit.
Last week we did this podcast, and the Knicks had the big win. Who did they beat? Utah. They beat Utah.
Yeah, with Austin Rivers hit the 4 threes and the whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were on cloud 9.
Right.
And it was just like, to me, it's amazing what happened in this past week. The Knicks on a 4-game losing streak. Mm-hmm. Kyrie Irving's disappeared. The Nets trade for James Harden. The Nets have wins versus the Sixers, the Jazz, and the Nuggets. And then they have losses versus Memphis and the Thunder. And then so it just like what can happen a week. I'm like, what are we going to be talking about in a week from now?
President got impeached again.
Dude, Trump's been impeached twice. I mean, it's not even like I'm like, but I guess what I'm saying is just think about everything that's happened from 1 week ago when we did the podcast and where we are now.
What about next week? We'll have a new president.
What's going to happen? It just things are going at a rapid pace. So that I wanted to just get that out there. I thought that was fascinating. Mm-hmm. And then my question for you. Mm-hmm. Do you think Julius Randle is part of the future plans with the Knicks because he's played so well and he was very impressive tonight? We haven't talked about him. He looked really good. Mm-hmm. Or would you want the Knicks to get more assets for Randle?
I love Julius Randle. I'm a big Julius Randle fan. I think he's 26 years old. He could be stepping into, Victor Oladipo with the Pacers before the injury, like mode where he's just, now I'm an all-star. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not crazy to say, but a month ago you had told me I was nuts.
Sure.
And I wanted to trade him before this season because I'm like, well, we got Obi Toppin. You guys telling me that we're tanking this year. We're just rebuilding. So deal him. Like, get him out of here. Like, let's go. What are we doing? But they excuse me. They have him this year. They have him on a favorable contract next year with a team option, so they can hold on to him for 2 years while building. Like, what are we trading him for? A draft pick? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? You tell me the deal. If you're telling me that you're getting somebody who's way better, then sure. But what's the point? Is he part of the future for the next 5-10 years? I mean, I don't know. I doubt it. But do I keep him this year or next year? Yeah, I do, unless there's a big deal that I don't see. But I can't, like, you got me on a really, like I can't stand this team right now. It's my worst nightmares are coming true, and it's really, really bad. I mean, like, I was last week, though, I think I said it the week before, whenever, I'm like, the Knicks are 5-3. It's probably not going to last. Let's just be excited. Just enjoy it. Like, let's enjoy this world. Let's just like live in the moment where, like, on, who cares? Make up some corny nicknames for Rivers and Quickly, and like, let's go. But now it's like,
dude, Kevin Knox
having digestion.
Kevin Knox, you can see that he is extremely skilled, can shoot, can move to the basket, but it just looks like he doesn't give a shit. He just looks so fucking disinterested. Like, he just, like, for example, like Bruce Brown,
like, he
doesn't have nearly the talent that Kevin Knox does. It's evident. Can't move like him, can't get to the basket, but you could just see how much effort he gives. Joe Harris, like, you can just see the effort. I know I'm picking Nets, and like, there's Knicks that give effort. Whatever. But I watch Kevin Knox and I'm like, dude, you've got skills. You look like you just don't care.
No, there's a funny picture I saw randomly. Like, the Knicks Instagram tweeted out a picture of, like, the Knicks bench going crazy at some point last year over the summer. and you see everybody's like like all these faces. Then you look at Knox, and he's just like comatose, like.
Yeah.
Like, do you even care? Like, why are you here? Like, do you want to be an NBA player, or would you rather play Fortnite? Would you rather? Did you see him at draft day? He opened up the suit and he had Fortnite written on the inside of his. Didn't know that. Like, it's like what? Like, okay, like you like Fortnite? Like, imagine,
like me with Mario Kart.
I tell my fiance at the wedding, I want to get NBA 2K on the inside of my jacket. Like, she'd be like, what the fuck?
Right, you're right.
What are you, 5 years old?
Well, yeah, I guess he was practically.
I guess
just showed lack of interest to me from the game tonight.
But then you see quickly, and the guy is just on fire. No. Like he just
energy.
The energy. Thank you. He's got that bounce in his step, like I told you, like kind of like he's not John Morant, but he's got that John Morant bounce where it's just he's just bouncing. He's everywhere. He's just always around the ball. He might miss some shots, take up some dumb shots. He might do something, but he's an incredible shooter. This tonight was the first free throw he's missed all season. I think he was like somewhere around 20 of 20, like somewhere around that. He's a really good free throw shooter. And it's just play the kid. Like this team is not good. And they weren't as good as the 5-3 team. Like what's the Bill Parcells thing? Maybe it's Bill Parcells, but it's like, you're never as good as your high and you're never as bad as your low. Right. Like, or something like that.
Okay.
It's just, but you are also what your record says you are, like Bill Parcells says also, so it's kind of, where are we right now? So it's like, if we're not going to be anything, and this is the team that Knicks fans want, most Knicks fans wanted this crap team. This is what you guys wanted because you tried to convince me that, we're going to play the kids. Okay, great. So play the goddamn kids. Like, stop with this Elfrid Payton stuff. I know he's 26, but it's enough. Last year I wanted Elfrid Payton. I thought he was a good signing for last year. For this year, you needed to upgrade, and you didn't. And now you have Dennis Smith Jr., who is out for the season with a contusion on his quad. You know what I mean? He's got a bruise. He hasn't played in a month. The guy stinks anyway. You have Frank Ntilikina that can't get on the floor. He plays one preseason game. He's out for the season too. You have these guys like what is happening right now? You know what I mean? Why I get you have to give Elfrid Payton minutes, but he doesn't need to play 30, 35 minutes a night and quickly plays 15. Like, just play quickly 40 minutes a night, play Knox 40 minutes a night, play RJ 40 minutes a night, or Randall 40 minutes, Mitch 40 minutes. I know the math doesn't make sense, but you know what I'm saying? Just play these guys.
40 is extreme, but I know what you mean.
But 35. Just play these guys every night and just keep it going. And let's see what happens then. And if they lose, they lose. But I'm tired of seeing Elfrid Payton. I'm tired of seeing guys like Reggie Bullock. I'm tired of seeing these scrubs like Austin Rivers. Okay, he hits a couple shots last week. He's a good Knick. He says the right things. Okay, this is a good bench player. But you're telling me that the season relies on Austin Rivers and then Reggie Bullock and Alec Burks gets hurt and now the season's over? Like, then your team sucks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, then if you're relying on Alec Burks and Reggie Bullock, your team is garbage. And you can't tell me that there's anything different. Other teams, fan bases and teams are laughing at Knicks fans like, oh my God, we really need Alec Burks back. Like, who the hell says that?
How did the Knicks, it's crazy to think the Knicks made these comeback wins. Versus
they were all improbable, crazy comebacks. They crushed the Bucks. Like, they crushed the Bucks.
Quickly reminds me a little, if you were to combine two guys, and I'm not saying he's nearly these players, but kind of his style. I'll go with style. If you took Morant and you took Trae Young and you put them together, like the way Quickly did the same fucking play that Trae Young does, where he gets in the paint and then he waits for someone to come on his back and then he has that little push shot. Reminded me of him. It was very similar, and then the feet bouncing. Quickly had a good game and looked solid. I don't understand the Mitchell Robinson appeal.
Oh yeah,
he I don't know. He
needs a point guard, man.
He needs a point guard. He needs
the worst goddamn way.
He needs help because he can defend, he can block shots, he's athletic, but he just can't do anything for himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's true. And that's the problem. Like, we were laughing about, like, oh, look at him. He's crossing over like me and you in the gym this summer. We're just like, what is this? How is this helping?
He's not taking those threes. That's ridiculous.
No, and he's not shooting anything. Shoot a three. Shoot a three. I mean, I know you're not taking anybody off the dribble. Just shoot a three. You're open. Let me see it in the game. Let's just see it. Just shoot. Like, what are we doing? And then he puts out some Instagram today, like Mitchell Robinson. He put out. He's like, oh, I'm going to shoot some threes tonight. And then people are like tweeting it, like, oh, look, here it comes, and he doesn't shoot one. It's just, this stuff is just so childish and stupid, and it's like, that's the kind of stuff that drives me crazy about Twitter. But it's just, I've separated from the stupid stuff that comes across my timeline.
I've separated from Twitter. I've stopped doing it, and I'll be completely honest with the audience. I have muted everyone, not even bad people,
even
just
me.
people that are. I did not mute you. I did not mute you, but I muted a lot of Knicks fans, not because they're bad people or because they say bad things, but because seeing the Knicks news put me in a bad mood, and I just said I can't do this anymore. And
you didn't mute everybody. I'm sure there's a few Knicks fans that you like that you kept that really don't bother you. You know what I mean? You know the people that I'm talking about, the guys that we like.
I know. I'm being who you are. I'm being extreme.
Point is, not everyone, but some.
There was things that triggered me.
You with the Alex assholes, as you called it.
I had to mute a lot of people, and not because, and this shows my weakness, I guess.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to be put in a bad head place. So I've been told, like, anytime I get in a bad head place about something Nick related that was annoying me, use it for good and do it for like career movement. So anytime I had a negative thought, stop the negative thought and then do something positive about it. And that's my new mantra, because and I'll be honest too, like the Knicks losing has helped. And that's been nice to see.
Well, they say people with temper problems, you have to just, like, if you feel yourself going, just stop.
Just stop. Breathe, I don't think I have a temper problem, but
I do. And that's what
they say people.
I stop. People.
I mean me.
Me. When I find myself going crazy, about to go crazy and yell at somebody for doing something stupid that's not worth yelling about, I just say, okay, they're being ridiculous. Let me relax, take a step back. And that's it. But it's just it's silly. Like, some of the things are just silly, and it's just like people. Then I put out a tweet today, like right before we went on. I don't remember who responded, but I put out something like, this is why I popped the blood vessel this offseason with the team, but this is what you guys wanted. This is the team you wanted. They suck. Like, I said something along those lines. And, people are like, well, you wanted Westbrook. I'm like, no, I wanted Westbrook only on a salary dump deal. Like, you wanted Hayward, give Hayward that money. I was like, no, I never said I wanted to give Hayward that money. I said it would sign him for the right contract. And he looks incredible. Yes. But even with a broken finger or something. And, but I didn't want to give him 4 years, 100, whatever million. That's ridiculous.
Silly.
But they could have signed other players, and these guys are now hurt. So people think like, oh, see, I told you. Well, you don't know if they would have been hurt here. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you could, like I said before, you could have made a deal. You could have done something creative. You have all of this cap space, and like, what are you doing with it? So now you have a terrible team with a coach that wants to win. So he's force feeding us Alfred Payton, and it's just, I can't. It's just a wasted season to me. And if you're not going to develop these guys, and last season I was about, piecing it together. Like I wanted to do this year, but I wanted to take a step up from the Alfred Payton, the Bobby Portis, the Taj Gibson, which I'm okay with Taj coming back on a smaller deal. Fine. But it's just, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm just so angry. Like, with this team. And there was no offset. You saw it tonight. There was no sets. They're running in circles. They're passing it. Nobody wants to shoot. And they're just like, what do we do? RJ looks not like the first half.
Had a bad game.
Yeah, he was not confident at all. He has a wide open three. He's squaring up, and he dishes it to Austin Rivers in the corner. And that's just not a good sign, man. And you're 20 years old and you're scared to shoot. That's bad. That's really bad. Third quarter, he played well, but other than that, and he still had like maybe around 20 points. It's fine, but it's not about the stats really. It's about what you're seeing, and lack of confidence and not shooting well, and that's where the coach has to step in. Like, step up, man. And they had that huddle audio. I don't know if you're watching the ESPN feed, and they had the huddle audio, and
I didn't hear that part.
Like, he said something like, shoot, if you're open, shoot the ball. Don't be scared. Shoot the ball. And you know who he was talking to, because it happened like right after that play I was talking about. So it's things that's good to hear, but like, you got to do more than embarrass the guy in the huddle. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have 75 assistant coaches. Somebody get this kid right, and let's see what we're going to do. Because it's just, if RJ Barrett doesn't develop,
it's bad.
It's bad. This is bad. And I think he can develop, into a really, really, really good player, all-star level player. I don't think he'll be a superstar, but he could definitely be an all-star level player. But if he's not, and he's just an average player, it's going to be a while.
Well, then it's bad, because then you look at the drafts and you go, okay, Ntilikina didn't pan out. Right. Knox didn't pan out. Barrett didn't pan out.
If he doesn't, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You just can't. right.
who's
Mitch, good
Mitch
pick,
is
definitely
fills a role. That's
but
what
you
he
can't.
does. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can't continue that trend and
No.
be successful.
You can't.
Like the reason the Warriors got good, it was because
They hit.
Steph hit, Clay hit, Draymond hit, fill the pieces, get it right. I'm talking about pre-Durant. Fill the pieces, get it right. We have a championship level team. If you don't hit on the picks, you're not going to win games. Celtics hit on Tatum, obviously, home run. Jaylen Brown, very good player.
Right. He's incredible. This
The Kyrie thing didn't work out. They would have been better suited not dealing the pick, and that went to Cleveland. Would have been better if they kept the asset. We know the history, whatever. It is what it is. But the Celtics are good because Tatum's now a great player.
Right.
Like you got to take picks, develop them. So that's why it's very strange now when I look at the Nets on a holistic picture. The culture Nets came in. The culture Nets were so appealing that Durant and Kyrie went to the culture Nets. Durant and Kyrie then took over the culture Nets, fired the coach. Kyrie is missing. Durant has now, they have such a stranglehold on the Nets. I don't know what to call them. All the culture Nets are gone. It's a whole new crew. And this is the team. And that whole crew that set the tone to get these guys here have now said, get out of here. It's our time to shine. That's really fucked up. I mean, it really.
I'm telling you, man.
I've been
warning you since we met.
But as a fan, if they win,
then who cares?
I mean, what do I?
But this puts even more anxiety on this season. It puts even like it's like the My Cousin Vinny scene when she's like my biological clock. He's like, how much more shit can you possibly pile on to the outcome of this season?
Love that movie. Yeah.
Like how much more? Let me see.
My favorite line in that movie is when Joe Pesci is in the courtroom and he falls asleep. And then the other attorney starts saying this and that and this, and they kind of budge. Joe Pesci, Vinny, and he wakes up and he goes, everything that guy just said is bullshit. Such a good line.
That's the best. I can like recite that entire movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Me and my ex-coworkers, we used to always imitate that movie. We'd be like, the other lawyer or whatever his name is, he'd go, identical. Like just like the dumbest shit. We just imitate like little tidbits in that movie, or just it's a
surprise there was never a My Cousin Vinny 2.
Yeah, it's if you don't make a sequel, like an 80s or 90s movie, you don't make a sequel right away. It's just like Coming to America 2. Like I'm gonna watch it, sure. Coming to America is like one of my favorite movies.
Is it gonna live? I mean,
it's too late, man. These guys are freaking grandfathers, and they're coming out and they're like, I am Akeem. I'm like, okay, like
they're just looking to make money.
And how are the barbers still alive? They're like 90 years old back then. No. They're gonna have the barbershop scene and the same guys are like 110
years old. Have you seen the trailer?
I seen it. I think I did. Maybe not. Maybe I'm actually one of those. It's one of those movies where I don't want to see the trailer because it's like comedy can be ruined by the trailer.
Right. The best scenes in the trailer.
Yeah.
One of those deals. All right, Alex. Do you have a poll question?
First, I want to do episode 44. Right. So name.
Oh, I love this. This is my new favorite segment.
Yes. There's a lot of famous number 44s in the Knicks. I'll do the Nets next, but can you name? Let's see.
John Wallace.
Yeah, that's the best one. Well, that's not the most famous one, but that's the one that you should know. So name. Let's see. We got one.
This is quickly my favorite segment of the show.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I love
fun.
this.
It's like nerdy.
Until we get to like
NBA
episode
stuff.
126.
Well, then we'll do 26. Yeah. So we have two that you're not going to guess, but they're very famous. And then there's one that you should know from the 90s Knicks, your most hated team.
90s Knicks, not John Wallace.
Great college player. No, he was a great college player. The early 90s. He was a great college player. He's now, I won't give away what he does now because then you're going to know. Or you might guess.
He is a car salesman in Boise. 44. Okay. Hubert Davis.
Got it. Yeah, I was gonna say college analyst now, and then you would have known.
Isn't he an assistant at North Carolina?
Oh, is he? I knew he was a college analyst for a little while.
I had to visual. I closed my eyes.
I didn't want to say college either. You would have gotten it with the college.
I closed my eyes and visualized the jerseys, which tonight's Knicks jerseys were a disaster. I had to explain to my wife, I'm like, this is not the typical orange and blue trash we'd be watching right now. No, I don't. That's wrong. The Knicks jerseys are iconic. I apologize. But those jerseys, like the net ones, suck. Those were just Ugh,
Yeah, I'm not whatever.
whatever.
I do like the kind of newer Brooklyn Nets ones that they were wearing early this season. It had a little blue in it, maybe. Those were okay.
You talking about the New
Did
Jersey
they?
net jerseys?
No, not those. No, it's like the Brooklyn. They wore them like the first 2 or 3 games of the season or something like that. I think.
I don't even know.
Maybe I'm
I
wrong.
love
Maybe they wore that tonight and I don't remember.
Durant in the New Jersey net jerseys is like my ultimate gut off. I love that because it feels like he's a New Jersey net, so it's like the ultimate combination. I'm like, oh my god, these are the New Jersey Nets. That like the S. I love that. But anyway,
it's the same team, yeah, because it's
right,
not.
like,
there's not a lot of others the same. So
okay, that was
two
44.
famous number 44s. You have Mike Woodson.
Would not have gotten that. No,
Paul Westphal.
would not have gotten that as well.
Didn't he just pass away? Paul
did.
Westphal. He did.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace.
I believe
Paul
so.
Westphal.
Yeah.
And also Travis Knight. You can't forget about Travis Knight.
I can see him. I can visualize him as a Laker. That I can see.
Oh my God, there's a lot of number 44s in Knicks history. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like at least 15. This is crazy.
Wow, the rest just no name.
Yeah, well, you got I don't know, Tim McCormick. He was on the Knicks for 5 seconds, and you have a bunch of crappy ass players.
Okay, but I got the two.
Jerome
Give
Jordan.
me some clues.
Yeah, the rest are nobodies. You wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so most famous Brooklyn net, number 44.
New Jersey net.
New Jersey net. It's come on. This is your boy,
Derek Coleman.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
I was gonna say Tony Massenberg, obviously.
I know Tony Mass. Oh, dude, Tony Massenberg is a great rebounder.
That was your boy. Yeah, that was one.
I like Tony Massenberg. He'd be a good fit on this Nets team. He was like Ed Davis kind of player.
Ed Davis, yeah. Oh, you had Hubert Davis also. He wore number 44 for the Nets. Okay. I didn't know that he was on the Nets.
I didn't either.
That's crazy.
Sean Bradley was 45. We'll do that next week.
Oh, see, you ruined that. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
So we had some
44s
famous 44s. We had Clifford Robinson in 81. Wow, I didn't know he was in Nets either.
Yeah, he was.
Keith Van Horn is the obvious one you would have gotten
KVH.
eventually.
My AOL screen name was Sox 44.
That's funny. Mine was JTS 19. No, so we have Hubert Davis 44 and Donnell Harvey in 2005. He was also a Knicks first round draft pick in 2000. By the way, Donnell Harvey, a scrub.
Anybody else I should know, or Van Horn? And DC
yes, 2 guys one guy you should know from the recent Brooklyn Nets.
Gerald Wallace.
Nope.
He was 45 also.
44, around 44.
No, I think I got my numbers mixed up. A recent Brooklyn net that was 44. Don't remember.
Bogdanovich.
Yeah. Okay. You got me on that.
Know.
Yeah, he's become a really good player.
Yeah.
He's really
Bogdanoviches are good. They're not related, but they're both very good players.
They're both very good players. That I was watching with my wife. She's like, I didn't know Bogdanovich was on the Hawks. Different Bogdanovich. It's like the Smith is, like
I was gonna say
it's
Jones and whoever. Yeah, over there.
Yeah.
All right. So Nick's poll question for the week.
Let's do it.
This was as on January 11th. So that's 2 days ago. So that's Monday. I put this out. Knicks fans, do you think the team did enough this offseason to improve the roster? Yes or no? And explain your answer.
Was this before? So they lost tonight, which is a Wednesday. They played again. They played Monday, right?
They play Monday.
So
yeah.
this is when they were 5-5.
Yeah. I put this out around midday on Monday. What do you think won?
Say it again. Let me see the question again.
Do you think the team did enough this offseason to improve the roster? Kind of what we were talking about earlier this episode.
61% said no.
60% said 59.1% said no. 40.9% said yes. And said explain your answer. And I got a lot of I'm fine with it. Yeah, okay. Let's do this poll.
You're the poster child for this now.
Oh yeah, I'm the guy, and that's the whole thing. Yeah, I'm rooting for the Knicks to be bad, is what they think. So you can be right. Yeah, I don't care about being right. I don't do this for a living. This is just fun for me. I'm having a great time. And
even if you did,
hopefully this becomes my job. That'd be great. That would
be sick. That would be sick.
Trust me, this doesn't pay my bills. It's great though. It's getting great. We're getting views. I don't want people to think we suck. But anyway,
pays my bills.
So we have a couple shout outs. Richard Burton. He's at Richard Burton with an I. So Burton. He goes, if it wasn't for Randall's play, we would probably still be winless. RJ and Mitch aren't stars and need 2 years of growth, but the rest of the roster are just throw-ins from league bargain bin. Thank you, Richard. You were my boy. Exactly what I had to say. Then we had our boy Barry Jordan. He's at Barry the Villain. He's got a great podcast, also the Cookout. He goes, "We need a real point guard. If we traded down for Westbrook, I bet we'd be better now. Even Rose." I think he means Derrick Rose. I don't know if bringing Derrick Rose back would be the best idea, but
hey, Knicks fans, Nets need a point guard too.
Hey, how about Elfrid Payton? Oh, right. The Knicks Elfrid Payton has a no trade clause because they re-signed him to a 1-year deal and they couldn't find anybody better. That was great. Great
Their
move.
point guards disappeared, and their other one's out for the season, and the third one was just dealt. So they do need a point guard.
Well, who's out there still? I don't know who's out there.
I don't know.
Somebody's got to be out there signed. I know Tim Frazier's gone now. The fantasy legend was already signed. But fantasy team took a hit this week, man. Oh, lost Zion, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley. My whole team got wiped out by COVID protests.
Pick up Bruce Brown.
Yeah, I should pick him up. But I can't drop these guys. Anyway, who cares? Nobody cares. Then we have his 12 years is his name. And then he goes at Perpetuum 529, PERPETUUM 529. He goes, more shooting. So that's what they should have done, is what he's saying, which is true. But hey, they got Alec Burks. So once he comes back, all their problems will be totally fine. So the Knicks will be totally fine. Everything will be great. And that's it. 3 shout outs. That's all I have for this week. I kind of pieced that together at the end.
When Alex Burke coming back?
I don't know. He's in a walking boot. So who knows?
At least they know where he is.
That's a good point. It's a good start. Knowing where your players are is definitely a good thing to good grasp on your organization when you know your players are.
Where will we be next week? I mean, what will we be talking about? Will Durant, Kyrie, and Harden have played together? I'll be reacting to Jared Allen putting on a 20-15 show against DeAndre Jordan, and away we go.
It is very possible the Knicks might not win a game for the next week. Also,
what's their
they might just
schedule?
keep losing. I have no idea, but let's see. Hold on. I'll tell you who they got up next. At least bear with me 1 second.
No problem.
Let's see. Okay, next. So they're at Cleveland, at Boston, and then home to Orlando. So that's 15, and then 17th and 18th is a back-to-back, but at Boston and then home to Orlando. So
this NBA, the standings, it kind of reminds me this year. I'm just pulling it up on my phone. But because of how wild everything is, the standings kind of remind me a little bit of more what like Major League Baseball's like, where everybody's like 5-6, 6-5, 7-4. Everybody's kind of jumbled together because of how weird this schedule is. So I think you're going to see a lot of some of the upper echelon teams. I know it's 72 games, but don't have those good. There's going to be a lot more upsets this year based on everything that's happened, and it's just going to be all about the playoffs and what happens. But
it's weird. It's a weird year, one. Man. Everything's weird. Can you imagine though? This year we're gonna have, the president was impeached. I know he's probably not going to be removed from office, but what if Mike Pence becomes president for like 3 days? Wouldn't that be crazy?
You put that on your resume.
Yeah, what's president? It's not even like interim coach. It's like you are the president of the United States.
Do you do 3 days?
I don't know. If I was him, I would do something stupid. I would
get Mike Pence ideas.
Yeah, no, I know that's true, but I would just cancel something or do something dumb like pardon a turkey or just something fun that the presidents do, like the dumb things that they do. It's like, I don't know, that'll be really funny.
Key for
president for 3 days.
Well, the key is that Trump can't run again, and I think
that's the whole point.
But I mean, what a crazy time these last couple of weeks have been.
It's funny, growing up, we like learned about Watergate. I know this is not a political podcast, but we learned about Watergate. We learned about the civil rights movements. We learned about all this stuff. And like growing up, like, wow, that was so long ago. I can't believe all that stuff happened. Everything's so much better now. And now look at this country. Maybe it's just because we got older, but I don't know that we notice it more. But I just feel like things weren't like this when we were younger. I know we had 9/11 and stuff like that, which was horrible. But like, other than that, it was pretty uneventful.
We never had
Clinton stuff, but whatever.
Never anything like this.
No, Clinton got impeached. Had some fun in the Oval Office. I mean, with an intern. I mean, I just that was a scandal. So I don't know. Maybe
that's like
couldn't fully grasp it.
That's nothing compared to this shit.
No, it's not. It's not,
dude. I mean, it's been it's been awful.
Yeah, it has been. What a terrible year 2020 was, and we're in 2021, and it's like the third week of it, and third week, whatever it is. And
it's the 14th.
Pretty horrible. Yeah, 2 weeks. There we go.
All right. Well, let's
What are we
end
gonna
it
do?
there. Let's end it there.
Yes.
This has been Bad Weather Fans. Episode number Keith Van Horn. Episode number Hubert Davis. Number 44.
Tony
Thank you
Massenberg.
guys for Tony Massenberg. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure, if you have not already, subscribe, give a 5-star rating, leave a comment. And if you're a Knicks fan, tell your Knicks fans about it. If you're one of our 107 Net fans that are out there in the universe, tell your other 100, tell 7 of the other Net fans. It's greatly appreciated. We love doing this. We think we have something really cool here with a Net rivalry and something kind of fun to talk about. And shit, there's going to be a lot. I can tell you this, good or bad, there's going to be a lot of Net stuff coming up in the next couple months, because I almost feel as if, like, when the Nets lose, I don't even know if you're going to get joy out of it. Or did I just catch you in a Knick loss?
You got me in Knick loss. It was bad. But if the Nets lose, I'm going to laugh. That's just what is going to happen. And by the way, we do talk about other sports. It's not just Knicks and Nets. I mean, it's the core of the podcast, but we have talked football. We've done picks. We've done things like that. It's just the Knicks and Nets is our main focus of this podcast. But we're not going to break down Rob Salah not getting hired by the New York Jets because nobody cares
tonight.
But
with that in mind, we can do a little Penguin talk if you want to.
You want to do the Penguins' second line talk? You want to do that?
I'm in for it. Yes. What do you think?
I can't name one player on the Penguins.
Mario Lemieux, bro.
Mario
All right,
Lemieux.
this has been Bad Weather Fans, episode
Yager. Yeah, there you go.
44. Mike and Alex, thank you guys for listening. Nets get the win versus the Knicks, the first time they have played each other this season. James Harden goes to the Nets. Knicks are on a 4-game losing streak. I think that's all the main bullet points from this episode. Alex, thank you, my man. And I'll see you next week with who the hell knows what's going on in the world.
We'll have a new president at least by next week.
That's
by next
fair.
Wednesday.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys.